So hello everyone. Uh, so let's imagine having a Siri or Google Assistant completely for ERPNext, right? Where we can just pass our command in natural language or pass the voice command, and the rest of the thing the ERPNext will do. So it's a great vision, right? So I took a small step toward this vision and built this ERPNext CoPilot. A brief intro about myself. I'm Raaj Tailor from Akhilam. I'm in Frappe community from past 4 years. I have been building custom Frappe modules and ERPNext integrations. Before 3 years, I had co-founded a company, Akhilam, with my partner Shivam, where in short span of 3 years, we have implemented 15 plus end-to-end projects, 30 plus development projects. We have worked across different industries like manufacturing, retail, real estate, and NGOs. We have clients across different countries, Germany, USA, Saudi Arabia, and Malaysia. Now, while working as a ERPNext consultant, I have observed that user training is a very crucial part of ERP implementation, where we need to physically guide user how to interact with software interfaces, how to do certain processes in order to achieve particular result, and also how to fetch particular kind of data out of the softwares. So, in essence, user training is a connection between a users and their interaction between software interfaces. So, how can we simplify this user training part? We can simplify this by simplifying their interaction between software interfaces. So in past few years, we have been went through an evolution of software interfaces, which begins from here, a command-based interface, where we have to pass some commands in order to achieve particular kind of result. Then these are the graphical user interface, where we need to where we can click and do certain actions. This is our modern user interface, which has widgets, input forms, and other user interfaces, which makes our interaction very easy with software interfaces. But this, after launch of ChatGPT, we have been introduced with a new user interface, which is a chat user interface. Now, in this user interface, we can pass certain commands into a human prompt, and then the software can do certain things. So I thought, what if we can have something like this for our ERPNext? So to test this idea, I made this video, ChatGPT integration with ERPNext, which got good response from different clients. I also got inquiries. Later, I thought to build a POC for that. Mohammad Hussain Nagaria helped me by building a chat interface, Doppio bot. After using that Doppio bot and a couple of iterations, I made my first MVP and I named it as ERPNext CoPilot. Let's understand this problem by a real life story. So there's a salesperson running on the field. Their daily activity includes suggesting latest product to their end customers, track their outstanding and credit limits, and also check about the current stock and latest price of the products. So in the traditional approach, either the salesperson need to call a person sitting in the warehouse, or they have to go through a mobile ERP interface. But I thought of this approach, where the salesperson can simply pass this command into chatbot interface, and from the ERP database itself, they can get the data, and that data will be directly from the ERP database. Without delaying, let's see the product architecture. So I used Frappe for the DB operation, React and Chakra UI for the chatbot part, GPT-4 as the language model, and LangChain as a LLM framework. Let's see the product in the action. So next time when the salesperson will go to the customer, he will only ask this question, like, I am visiting this customer, which product should I suggest him to buy, right? So now after analyzing his past purchase, he will suggest some products from the inventory itself. Now over here, we can see the past purchase of the customer which is from the Apple brand. Now, so the chatbot has suggested 3 products from that same brand. And we can see the source of the answer was from here. We can see the customer sales report where there is 3 purchases of the same brand. Now, after having information about the product, he also need to understand the current stock and the latest price of the product, right? So he will only ask this question like, provide the stock and current price of the items. So the chatbot will answer with all of this thing, like the current stock from the different warehouse and the latest price. And we can see the source of this answer was from here. We can see it from stock balance report. Now, at the end, while leaving the customer, he also need to update him about his past outstanding. So he will simply ask this question again, like, can you check for the outstanding for the customer from the system? So then the bot will analyze the past pending invoices from the ERP and provide us the correct total outstanding amount. From the account receivable, we are able to see that there are 2 pending invoices from the customer and total outstanding is 2,30,000, which was the response from the chatbot. Now let's understand how this whole things work. So I used LangChain for this use case. So first of all, we will have a LangChain agent. Now this LangChain agent will have 2 main parts, the system context and the Python tools. Now in the system context, I have defined how to behave in certain way for different kind of queries. And then on base of that context, he will choose the Python tools. So the Python tools is basically a Python function which we execute to get the data from the ERP. Now in our first example, where we asked for the past to chatbot to suggest the latest product. So the LangChain agent went through the past purchase first, so that was the one Python tool, and then he looked into the current inventory and then suggested the available item, and then after comparing their different parameters like item group and brand, he suggested the products. And this Python tools is dynamically called by the LangChain agent based on the system context and based on the user query. Now, we have a different another feature which is data entry creation with prompt. Now, if we want to create some record into the system, we need to do certain kind of thing. We have certain challenges. We need to go through some data validation, like in case of mobile number or email, we have to validate their inputs. In case of link fields, we need to check the data integrity, whether the user is providing correct data or not. And if the form is having different mandatory inputs and user is only providing few inputs, then the model will again ask the follow-up question and the whole part will get more complicated. So for this use case, we have thought of this approach, prompt to form approach, where we can pass a simple prompt in human language and that will be converted into a form. Let's see how it will work. So over here, user is passing one query, create customer and with the customer name. So in this form, the customer name is pre-filled and other 3 parts, the customer need to enter manually and then after click on submit, the record will be created. In the second example, the user is passing more information about the customer. So now the form is pre-filled with all the information that he has passed. Let's see one complex example. Over here, user is trying to create a sales order with the customer name, item details. Now, in this case, we need to select the item code because end user doesn't know the correct item code, but we have filtered the item code based on the item name. And after click on the save, the sales order will be created. Right, so we are reducing many clicks by giving this feature by only a prompt. Let's understand how this whole prompt to form feature works. So first, we will have a human language prompt that will be pass through LLM. Now this time, the LLM will identify the task type and which doc type do we need to create. Then, from that input, we will fetch the doc type JSON from the Frappe, and after combining this JSON and user input, we will pass it again to LLM, and this time this LLM will give us pre-filled JSON. And by using the dynamic form approach, we will display the form, and on click of button, the record will be created. Now, if you are using this approach with large language model, then there are certain challenges like hallucination, which is biggest problem with large language model, because large language models sometimes assume certain things by themselves. Then if you are using GPT 3.5 or GPT 4, then the API cost will be high. Also in case of GPT 4, the response time will be big. Now this is the future roadmap and how can we enhance this product more. Obviously we need to enhance the UI part. We need to work more on the accuracy part. And to avoid the problem of hallucination, we can think of fine-tuning or training a custom large language model. Also, if we can provide some math function to the LangChain agent, then we can do more analysis on the data which is fetched from the ERP system. Now, these are the contributors who helped me to build this product. My team members Vivek Thakur, Shivam Patel, and Parth Dumrani. So, let's make ERPNext AI enabled. So, it is just a small step toward making our ERPNext enabled for natural language. We can enhance this product more by giving more feature like voice input. So, without typing anything, we can just record something and then the data will be created and then we can get some data out of the system. So, this is the open source project. You can check this GitHub repo, and if you are really interested in this vision, then you can contribute to this project. Thank you.